All right, friends, we're on to Workbook Lesson 12 of A Course in Miracles. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. The importance of this idea lies in the fact that it contains a correction for a major perceptual distortion. You think that what upsets you is a frightening world, or a sad world, or a violent world, or an insane world. All these attributes are given it by you. The world is meaningless in itself. These exercises are done with eyes open. Look around you, this time quite slowly. Try to pace yourself so that the slow shifting of your glance from one thing to another involves a fairly constant time interval. Do not allow the time of the shift to become markedly longer or shorter, but try instead to keep a measured, even tempo throughout. What you see does not matter. You teach yourself this as you give whatever your glance rests on equal attention and equal time. This is a beginning step in learning to give them all equal value. As you look about you, say to yourself, I think I see a fearful world, a dangerous world, a hostile world, a sad world, a wicked world, a crazy world, and so on, using whatever descriptive terms happen to occur to you. If terms which seem positive rather than negative occur to you, include them. For example, you might think of a, quote, a good world, unquote, or, quote, a satisfying world, unquote. If such terms occur to you, use them along with the rest. You may not yet understand why these, quote, nice, unquote, adjectives belong in these exercises, but remember that a good world, a quote, good world, unquote, implies a, quote, bad, unquote, one. And a, quote, satisfying world, unquote, implies an, quote, unsatisfying, unquote, one. All terms which cross your mind are suitable subjects for today's exercises. Their seeming quality does not matter. Be sure that you do not alter the time intervals between applying today's idea to what you think is pleasant and what you think is unpleasant. For the purposes of these exercises, there is no difference between them. At the end of the practice period, add, but I am upset because I see a meaningless world. What is meaningless is neither good nor bad. Why then should a meaningless world upset you? If you could accept the world as meaningless and let the truth be written upon it for you, it would make you indescribably happy. But because it is meaningless, you are impelled to write upon it what you would have it be. It is this you see in it. It is this that is meaningless in truth. Beneath your words is written the word of God. The truth upsets you now, but when your words have been erased, you will see his. That is the ultimate purpose of these exercises. 3 or 4 times is enough for practicing the idea for today, nor should the practice periods exceed a minute. You may find even this too long. Terminate the exercises whenever you experience a sense of strain. First thing I want to note is what is meaningless is neither good nor bad. Why then should a meaningless world upset you? If you could accept the world as meaningless and let the truth be written upon it for you, it would make you indescribably happy. It is this that, okay, beneath your words is written the word of God. The truth upsets you now, but when the words have been erased, you will see his. So there's a line or a little passage in the text which reads something like, look up and see his word among the stars, or look up and see your name among the stars, where he has set your name along with his. Look up and find your certain destiny that the world would hide, but he would have you see. I know those lines because I put it in a song. But maybe I'll put the link to the song on this video too. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. I have imposed my own meaning onto a world which in itself is neutral, right? It is what I make of it. Projection, basic concept to keep in mind throughout your study of the course is projection makes perception. Whatever we project out is what we will perceive. So projection makes perception. The importance of this idea lies in the fact that it contains a correction for a major perceptual distortion. You think that what upsets you is a frightening world or a sad world or a violent world or an insane world, etc., etc. All these attributes are given it by you. The world is meaningless in itself. And again, it doesn't have any meaning until you ascribe to it some meaning. And the meaning that you ascribe to it is because that is what you want to see. And that, Jesus in the text really tries to explain why that is. That's why the text is important. Can't discount the importance of the text, and let's just talk about that for just a brief moment, which is Jesus starts with the text. A lot of people just do the workbook, but there's a reason why Jesus started with the text. And when Helen started scribing A Course in Miracles, she didn't even know that there was going to be anything other than a text at first. And then she realized there probably would be a workbook and then a manual for teachers. But at first, it was just a text. It was just the theoretical underpinnings or the metaphysical underpinnings of the practical part of the Course. The Course is a continuum of theory and practice. And practice is ultimately more important in that, the theory means nothing if you don't put it into practice. But on the other hand, the practice does not make sense without the theory. Well, that's not completely true in the sense that Jesus says you don't have to understand the theory or believe the theory in order to practice it. But ultimately, but it helps to understand the theory, and you will understand the theory once you put it into practice. So let's put it that way. These exercises are done with eyes open. You look around you. Try to keep a measured, even tempo. Again, this is all done with a leisurely pace. You're in relaxed, you're relaxed. You're not rushing. You're not just trying to get it done. What you see does not matter. You teach yourself this as you give whatever your glance rests on equal attention and equal time. This is a beginning step in learning to give them all equal value. So whatever you see is really, there's no order of difficulty in miracles. Everything really is part of the same dream of the sun. You might think of a good world or a satisfying world. Okay, so we tend to think of spirituality as correcting the negative, but Jesus is saying that the terms good and bad, negative and positive, really are all coming from the same egoic framework. And what we're ultimately doing here is we're transcending the perceptual framework, the world of perception. The world of perception is what we made. It is not God's realm. So the world of perception includes all opposites and all, you could say, mental valuations such as good and bad, right and wrong, positive and negative, light and dark, etc., etc. These are all part of the ego-made conditioning of the mind that we are learning through this practice is not ultimately real. So these are the, these lessons are very basic and very beginning, but we'll see where it goes, because it becomes quite radical. I mean, it's radical even now, but anyway, I got another video. I got another video to get to today. I'm gonna actually read part of this really cool interview with Bill Thetford, who was co-scribe with Helen from New Realities magazine back in the 80s. And Bill, I'll say more in the video, but Bill was super cool. He was an enlightened dude. Really, I resonate with Bill just as much as anyone else. Helen and Ken. I don't know much about the other players, but Bill, there was a reason why Bill was there. He had a major role to play, and for all we know, he was equally enlightened with everyone else. And I know that some people don't think that is true, but it's remember that whatever you see outside of yourself is how you see yourself. And if you're looking for a problem, it will come. You will see a problem. And if you see the Christ essence in each and every thing, you will see truly. And that's true. And also, Bill just was one badass dude, and the video is going to prove that. So stay tuned. See you soon. Bye-bye.